So yes, now we have come to the angel investor segment. So you have an idea, you have validated it, and you have reached an early stage, and you have some kind of traction, but you need a mentorship to grow faster, and you need some kind of initial investment so that you need to finalize your product or fix some issues with your product. So this is the stage where you go to an angel investor. So when it comes to the angel investor, what you first need to do is like you need to look at the sector alignment, and then you need to determine the level of amount that you need. So the stage preference, what stage are you in, and then the ticket size. So the ticket size depending upon the, so what you need to do now is like you have your requirement here. Now you go apply filters, and depending upon the ticket size that you're expecting, you look at the history of the angel investor and then see what kind of investments he has made, and then you'll have to shortlist and find your dream 100 investor shortlist. So typically at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. So if you go and reach out to, this is how a typical sales works too. Like when you go and reach out to 100 people, only around 20 to 30 will show interest, and around 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 will get actual investment. So this is the typical process that goes through. So what do actually, we have seen how you should filter an investor. We'll look at that in detail. But what do angel investors actually look for? So there are several factors actually. When it comes to that, it is founder market fit, whether the founder actually has the eligibility, or can he pull the business and actually deliver. That is one. Second, what is the earlier traction or validation? Like what kind of revenue you have got, how many customers do you have, those kind of questions. Do you have a clear problem solution fit in the market? How scalable your business is, or depending upon your competitors, and the trust and clarity level of your team. So these are the things that angel investors look for. But at the end of the day, what angel investor does, what he wants is he wants to invest in your startup. He wants to make you grow, and out of that, he actually wants to make money out of you, right? So if he has to, when we typically go and buy a product, we actually see whether the product actually has some value in it, and if that value actually will it be delivered to us. So that is what we do when we evaluate a product, when we go and buy in the market. So that is what angel investor is doing. So that is why we have to play the number game here. So when we look at the angel network, we have actually 14,700 active angel investors across India. And then, yes, so what you can do is like, I'll go to the platform now. You can see we can, this is the angel investor segment where you can access by looking at angels here. And if you see, we have 5 categories: angel background, the startups they invest in, the founders they investment pattern, and industries they invest. So you can apply all these filters and try to determine your ticket size, your sector, and so on and so forth, and their activity, similar to the earlier analysis. So if you see here, we have the profile of Mr. Jitendra Gupta. He's from Mumbai. We have his contact information. We have his description on what are all the activities that he has been in. He is YNOS connected. This means that you can actually mail, you can directly send a personalized note via YNOS platform itself. So this will give you a better response rate typically. So yes, and he is actually pretty responsive. And details in profile, public profile, how much he has shared and how active he is in the market. That is the rating that we have here. And we also have their LinkedIn and their Twitter so that you can reach out to them personally if they don't respond via mail ID. So then what we have is like what are all the prominent investment areas that they are in, and then their recent experience. So where are they working? As I mentioned to you, angel investor typically invest in startups where they are actually having experience in, or they are familiar with, because they know what are all the challenges in the market, and they want to actually guide you and mentor you. So if they don't have the knowledge, then they will not actually show interest in your investing in your startup. So it should actually excite the angel investor to work with you. So that's the reason they will come to you. So yes, so you'll have to like look at the startup sector and everything. And yes, so what you can do is like you can actually find similarities. For example, if you also have studied in Sydenham College of Commerce and Economics, Mumbai, you actually have a point to connect with the angel investor. So you can actually use these points to introduce yourself. When you introduce yourself, you can actually use these points to discuss with the angel investor and establish the connect. And what you can do is like you can look at the prominent investments, the sectors that he has established, like sectors where he has invested in, the key focus areas. And then see, there's a trend here. Typically, angel investors, what they do, since their ticket size is small, when if your requirement is higher, they do joint investments. So when you are, for example, when you are going and approaching Jitendra Gupta, it is advisable that you can actually also consider all these angels too, because these are the people whom he has jointly already invested in. This makes the case that he has higher chances of investing in your startup as well. And yes, so after the first round of investment, overall the subsequent rounds were all active and invested in the investments made by Jitendra Gupta. So those are also highlighted here. And similarly, we have the detailed PDF version here, and you can look at the details of the investments and the round size and so on in detail as well. So this is what we have on the platform overall. So yes, we are looking at the angel network now. So what do angel investors expect? So it comes under 12 sliders. So the first thing, how is your title and the hook? And second, what problem are you actually trying to solve? What is your solution? And also, when you are trying to find the solution, you must also determine the market size, the potential size of the solution. Is it a problem worth solving? You have to find the total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable operable market, how much you can actually reach out of the existing problem, people who have customers who have the problem, how much you can actually reach and how much money you can actually make out of it. You must have done your homework. And when it comes to the current traction, like what you have actually achieved till now, what your business model is, that is also neat. Competitive mode, what this means is like how are your competitors performing? And competitor matrix, what do competitors have that you don't have, and what you have that the competitors don't have. All these you must have it in clear clarity. Then the next comes the team, so the credibility of the team, how strong your team is in terms of experience, the size of your team, so on and so forth. And then comes the financial projections. So how projecting your business over a span of 2 or 3 years, how much will your startup actually make? And it must be realistic numbers for the angel investor to show interest. And 11th comes the ask and the use of funds. You are reaching out to the investor. Why are you actually reaching out to the investor? Why can't you go for a loan? Why can't you go for some kind of a grant or an incubator? Why an angel investor? You must have that answer ready clearly. Otherwise, there are high chances of rejection. And yes, so also once you get the money, what will you actually do? What kind of timeline will you actually take? And what are the milestones that you will commit and deliver to the angel investor? All these we have to be actually clear. What is the ROI that the angel investor should get? So the key rule that we need to have is like we'll have to keep it visual as possible. We'll have to have minimal text. We also have to rely on compelling, verifiable ecosystem data to back every claim. So typically what happens is like in an industry or in a pitch that we usually see in the YNOS pitch events that we conduct, the startups are pretty unrealistic. So the numbers that they give, they do not have done their research, and this badly reflects on the startup pitch deck that they are making. So the research is actually a very key part that every startup needs to do. So yes, how long does it take for a typical campaign timeline for you to crack an angel investment? So the first 1 to 2 months, you may need to prioritize optimizing your profile, building your tech, and market sizing. Then second and third month, you'll have to start shortlisting from your dream 100 investor list. You'll have to start targeting and reaching out to them. See, it also is similar to a sales. So typically you start pitching, and then what happens is like then they show interest, and there are around 20 to 30 pitches that you can actually make. That is 20 to 30 meetings, and then post that 2 to 5 term sheets is what you'll be able to close towards the end. So typically it's a 6 months to almost a year process. So it depends upon the angel investor, the kind of how active he is, and so on and so forth. So when you have to follow up, you may have to follow up multiple times as well. So this is almost a full-time activity. So what we would advise is like if you are following up, the initial research has to be done by the founder, but the following up and so on, that can be done by a analyst or a junior resource, and then you can just go on and attend the meetings. So typically it needs 2 to 3 follow-ups before you go for a meeting. But once the meeting happens, you actually know and have a sense whether the actual investor is interested or he is just whiling away your time. So what we would advise is like you have to move on and try to go for the other set of investors